to my websites is everyonehasissues.com.
I love it.
That is, everyone has issues. But we live in this society that tells us it's not okay to work on our psychological and our emotional health. We tend to gravitate towards advice givers and self-helpers. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them, but people need to work with trained, licensed professionals who know how to help navigate people through a lot of their irrational fears and beliefs. So the answer to your question is, when is it time to get some professional help? Before you need it.
But Dr. Walker,
when it's time. Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. I have a question for you now. I know Canada's socialized medicine, right? So all this stuff is covered under it, like behavioral therapy.
A lot of it is.
But in the United States, like I happen to work for a large company, and just, I would say up until 5 years ago, are they covering this type of behavioral therapy? But prior, they didn't. So most companies that offer insurance, you've got the eye, you've got the dental, you've got the medical, but they don't have that rider or whatever extension, at least here in the States, that covers psychological counseling. And do you think that, that could be an issue why people maybe don't do it? And I'm not saying that's the case, but I've been a follower of therapy for years, and I only use it when necessary because I try and solve it on my own. I'm sure both Carl and I are ADD and we can fix the world together or separately. But when there are times that I try and I'm in a loop and I just can't figure it out is when I seek therapy. So do you really believe, that people, maybe as a child, that their parents should automatically, when they take them to the eye doctor, when they take them to the dentist, that they should take them to a psychologist just to sort of get a barometer to see, oh, my child is not a sociopath?
Early childhood education.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to speak over you, but absolutely, I do believe that. I do believe that the majority of health plans, major health plans now, cover behavioral health. Most of them cover mental health to some degree, but there's a not known way around that for a lot of people is what's called a sliding scale. Most mental health professionals will have what's known as a sliding scale, which means that if you don't want to go through an insurance company, they will have a reduced amount that you could pay check or cash for that is comparable in many ways, and sometimes maybe even comparable to your deductible on your insurance plan. And if there are any therapists or mental health people out there listening to this, I say shame on you. I say shame on you for keeping your rate so high that only people who can really afford it get the help. I rarely, if ever, turn away anybody. I always reduce my rate. I always try to get people in to see me. If I don't, I work with people who can work with them at a reduced rate. But I think there's something bigger at stake here than just the financial piece. People honestly need to embrace the fact that we're all messed up. We all have issues to a certain degree, and that's what unifies us. That's not what separates us. That's what unifies us. But we live in this society, and I don't know what it's like in Canada, but the United States is an extremely materialistic, extremely surface-oriented culture. We need to ask deeper questions about who we are and whether this is the kind of world we need to live in. And as a licensed psychologist, I have seen people make dramatic changes in their life simply by questioning some of their core belief systems.
I really like the cut of your jib, Dr. Walker. I really do. I like that you're telling it like it is, because I feel like if I had someone like you, then maybe people wouldn't be so susceptible to, following people who are like, L. Ron Hubbard or Emperor Palpatine. Because I think that we have these, when we realize we're all in the same big support group, I really like that philosophy, but I want to ask you about something else that's really prevalent, especially in the United States, well, actually all of North America, and that's pharmaceutical drugs, because it seems like everybody wants the quick answer, and I'm certain that you can't be in favor of this, that for me, I just know a couple hours doing yoga or going to the gym is going to be a lot better than like what I call a Xanhattan, which is a Xanax and a Pinot Grigio. And that's just what I joke about because I'm a white woman. I don't take any of those. I've never even smoked pot. But we're really living in a highly medicated society right now where that's the quick fix and it's big bucks. I'd love to hear you bring in on that.
Absolutely. You know, if you go on my website, everyonehasissues.com, and then you click on the Facebook link, there are a couple stories that I was interviewed on about this pill epidemic. And, you know, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but they did a study of about 10 or 15 municipalities in and around the United States of their drinking water, their groundwater, the water treatment facilities.
Yep.
Guess what they found in them? Low levels of depression medication, anxiety medication, painkillers. Absolutely, they're passing straight through our bodies. The dosages are too high. People are flushing them down the toilet. So absolutely, we live. But that's what I mean. Let's call it for what it is. The United States is a quick fix society. People don't want to do the work. They want to be able to take the pill. And the pharmaceutical companies are standing by just inhaling that epidemic. They are making people believe. Look at the commercials for Abilify on TV. Oh, if your antidepressant medication isn't working, take this antipsychotic medication. When do you ever see a commercial for, oh, your antidepressant medication is not working? Call a psychologist. Call a mental health professional. Yes, absolutely. Psychotropic medications help, absolutely, to a certain degree. But the amount and the prescription amount that they're being given in are way out of control. The profit margins for the pharmaceutical companies have gotten, I mean, it's not even funny how much money they're making, and we're not questioning that. So I say get into counseling, work it through with a psychologist? Absolutely, because people are not realizing the pills treat the symptom. They have nothing to do with the cause. They have nothing to do with why people are depressed. Most depression starts with some sort of traumatic life event where somebody experiences prolonged negative affect, and that changes the way their neurons fire. And that's what they need to work through. So I agree with you totally. We need to look at how many pills we're taking.
So because I have to wrap up soon with you, Doctor, I want to bring it full circle. When you say that people who are just taking any kind of medication, basically that's just masking the pain, putting a Band-Aid over it. Is it the same with fears? Then if there's a root cause, you have to probe a lot more deeply if you're looking to get over a fear. Is it sort of the same thing that we're talking about? So where do you start?
And it's not as deep. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just asking, where do we start? Do we go back? Do we have to go back to childhood? I had a really happy childhood. Stuff didn't start to fall apart for me, like the back end of Saturday Night Live, until much later. Do we have to go back to that, or do we just have to be really honest with ourselves, or, as you say, maybe leave it in the hands of a professional?
A, B, C, all of the above, absolutely. And people have this idea that you're going to be in therapy forever. You know, if you've been working with a counselor or psychologist for over a year and you're really not making you need to find somebody else, bottom line. But no, most people will, I think the latest study is 85% of people who went through 3 to 6 months of therapy, 85% report positive gains. 85%. I would love to see a pharmaceutical company say they have a pill that gives 85% efficacy. I would love to see that. So yes, it's a combination of looking at yourself, looking at your past, looking at your belief system, having the courage to accept the fact that you're weak, working through it, but mainly finding a licensed person, someone you're comfortable with, that you can work with. And thank you for your compliment earlier. I do try to be very genuine with people, real. People know about my own struggles, how I've worked on myself. And yes, I'm a firm believer that if we as a world were working on our issues more, we'd have a totally different society.
Well, if people have been listening to you and like me, they're digging what you have to say. It's speaking to them. I'm also slightly attracted to you right now. I don't mind saying that. How do we get in touch with you? I know that you have your everyonehasissues.com, and I have something else here in my research that says licensedpsychology.com. Are you on Twitter, or is there a more direct way to get in touch with you?
Absolutely. It's Dr. Stephen Walker on Twitter. If you go to Facebook and just type in licensedpsychology.com, it'll take you straight to our webpage, where I think we have close to 10,000 followers already. You can engage with me on my website. I've done internet video sessions with people all around the world, so you can do sessions through any place on the planet. But the main thing that people need to do is accept the fact that you have issues. It's okay, but we got to work on them. I mean, we could have a completely different planet if people would just accept their mental health the way they do their dental health.
And that's something my mom has said to me for years. She's never understood why it's such a taboo thing. If you break your leg, you go to see the doctor. If there's something broken and you have an issue, go to see a psychologist. And will you come back on the show? Will you come and hang with us on the Speakeasy again?
Absolutely. I'd love to take some calls, and if people are struggling with anything, absolutely. Just I would be honored to. So thank you.
Well, we're going to be able to do that, I believe, by the end of September, early October here. It's just a baby. It's just a toddler station. So you're getting us in our infancy, Stephen, before we can get any really bad. This is great. You're in our formative years. You're going to be able to take Canada Talks and make sure that we don't have as many issues as the other radio stations. Thanks for being on the show.
Wonderful.
All right, Dr. Stephen C. Walker, everyonehasissues.com, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm Carla Collins. This is Speakeasy. Today's password, Lewinsky. This is Canada Talks, channel 167, SiriusXM. We're going to take a break right now. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back to Shoot the Shizzle with my buddy, Gayanne Bruno.